So if we have both of those and they complement one another, we have to have a progression regression for how we're going to make sure that based upon our needs analysis and what we're seeing on the floor, that it complements each other to give them the best position possible on the court. So a matrix trains in all three planes of motion, and it just creates development for that student athlete. So that squat matrix, if you look down at your feet, you're gonna move your feet in different directions, and you'll see this video shortly as well. But the squat matrix puts the body in different positions in which they might be called upon to do in the game, because you don't know how an athlete is going to land. You don't know how they're going to be called upon to change direction or sprint down the floor. So that footprint will be wide, a stagger stance, whether it be your right foot or your left foot. And I want you to picture your guys closing out and one of those feet is up, depending upon what side of the court they're closing out on. You're going to go wide, you're going to go narrow, and then you're gonna go back to a base stance, those feet right under those hips, and you're gonna turn those toes in, toes open. And so over time, you look at where those athletes limited. And most athletes are going to be limited in their ankles and their hips and their thoracic spine. So in playing with that footprint, we're able to address several of those issues, because how I'm looking at it is that I'm looking from a bottom to top approach, since that foot is always in contact with the ground. From there, we're going to goblet squat, we'll dumbbell rack goblet squat, we'll landmine squat, we'll front squat. And all of these things are interchangeable. That's why it's put into that circular motion. You have your lunge matrix, and you'll see just a moment, going forward, lateral, drop step, which would be our common. Then we have an uncommon version as well. We can load it regularly in the sagittal plane with dumbbell split squat variations, rear foot elevated. We can load it with the safety bar, whether it's regular split squat or rear foot elevated. But we have an endless supply of how we can go about creating those variations to be able to give our athletes what they need to be successful in the weight room and on the court. And then the hinge matrix, very similar to the squat matrix as far as the footprint. The only thing that's going now is that you're hinging. Yeah, and then from there we have our dumbbell front rack RDL that we love to utilize when we're teaching our guys how to hinge. Landmine RDL, we're going to glute bridge in some way, shape, or form, whether it's bilateral or unilateral. We're going to RDL, and with our RDL variations, that can change with our footprint. And then we can trap bar deadlift, which will change with our footprint as well over time. And then we go to our upper body regression and our progression. So for our pull-up matrix, we'll just be playing with our hand position on the bar, whether both hands are pronated or supinated. We can go one hand pronated and the other supinated. We can go wide and do the same type of grips. We can go neutral. We have a whole gambit of what we can utilize for our pull-up matrix. But the goal of it is to give our athletes the ability to be able to go up, snatch, rebound out of the air, no matter the position that they're in. Inverted row, dumbbell row variations, and then regular pull-up, and we'll go weighted and tempos with that. We have our shoulder matrix, which kind of go hands in hand with our pull-up matrix, but more so this shoulder matrix is based upon reaches, giving that athlete the capacity and the ability to be able to reach behind them or out to the side, no matter where that ball is, to give ourselves the best chance possible to get the ball and move and score or get the ball down the floor. So we have a yoga push-up that follows after that, dumbbell overhead press. We have landmine variation that we'll use, and then we can always use the barbell. And then for our push-up matrix, the hand print is the same as a footprint that you would utilize for that squat matrix or a hinge. You're just playing with the position of that scapula, and you're exposing the body to different, in the eyes, to a different position each time. And then we just have regular push-up variations where we can load it up and go with tempos, dumbbell bench variations, and so forth. So in this, we create tweaks to be able to enhance the exercises that we're choosing to use to, again, give them success and progression over time, and for them to dominate what we're doing in the weight room and translate it back onto the court. So we can determine the load, we can determine the direction that that exercise is going to occur in, whether it's anterior, posterior, lateral. We can determine the driver. Are our eyes initiating this movement? Are our hands initiating movement? Are our feet initiating movement? Are our hips initiating the movement? Where are we doing this movement pattern at, which would result in the environment? The height. So for instance, and this will go hand in hand with position. So if I'm asking the athlete to get into a different position, which we'll say split stance overhead row. So the height would be that implement is above their head. The position is that they're in a split stance. Duration will be the time under tension. The rate would be how fast am I asking this athlete to concentrically perform that movement. What action? The action would be a row, and then the distance. So is that implement far away from my body, although it is above my head, or is it proximal? So I have to determine all of that, and I take all that in consideration when I am selecting the exercise, the load, and duration, and so forth as we progress over our exercises through time. And then our fundamental movements that we're going to utilize. We're going to squat. We're going to lunge. We're going to have an up body push and pull. We're going to hinge. We're going to swing. We'll pivot. We'll jump. We'll hop. We'll reach. We'll leap. All of these movements you see in the game of basketball, just like you just saw in the video not too long ago, where that athlete was lunging. He reached the ball out in front of him. He hopped to the side to avoid the defender. He leaped to the basket. And then he reached behind himself to be able to score. And so you may be asking yourself, okay, he's talking about strength. He's talking about this matrix stuff. What are you really looking for? Well, when I'm putting together a program, I'm going to divide our guys into guards and posts. And these are some things that we're looking for our guys. We want them to be efficient movers. And efficient movers is more so predicated towards the individual, because everyone has a different injury history, everyone has different mobility. So I have to identify through video and through my eyes of what I'm seeing that you have to be able to pick the position in which they're going to go to and how they're going to return back without being fatigued over time because of poor movements. The second quality that I'm looking at is strength, relative strength and unique strength. Again, I talked about shifting and positioning. If someone is leaning on you in the course of the game, it is similar to back squatting or front squatting, but it's not the exact same, because can your athletes translate what they're doing in the weight room to the court? We want to improve running efficiency. We want to be able to create and dominate space with our feet. So we want to be under control. We want to make sure that our feet are shoulder width apart, that if that guard needs to get to the basket or get that defender off of them, they can take that step and be efficient with it. We want our post players not get pushed around in the post. And if they are, it is my job to figure out why that is. We have to be able to change direction efficiently. We have to be explosive, reactive, and above anything else, we're going to be tough. Tough means that we're going to do the right things all the time. And no matter how tired we get, we're going to focus in on doing it right. Loaded movement training. Again, I talked about squat matrix, lunge matrix, shuffle matrix would basically be you picturing your guys sliding and guarding an opposing player when they go diagonal, when they go side to side, or when they have to transition and close out anteriorly, or they have to they have to backpedal, or think of a box out and then pivots. You have to be able to pivot. You have to be able to control your space, but you also have to be able to do it without a wasted movement. You have vertical core, in which you're standing. We can do it with a partner. We can do it with med balls, and we have series for our post and our guards, whether it be curries, where it's working on our passing sequence, or we can focus on our shacks for our post players, where it's a slam to a throw and being tenacious with it. And then we have combo moves we like to use, whether it's a screen to a rebound, and that rebound will be a pull up, because I want to make sure that what I'm asking my athletes to do, they're able to translate it. And as well, I want them to have fun, because I know what I'm asking them to do in the weight room is not for everyone. Again, it goes back to preferences. And then combo moves for that guard, euro to a dunk. Can they sidestep and then get up to the basket and finish? So that's why we utilize the pull-up, and we just phrase it as a rebound or dunk.